Okay, so I just had one of those instances in my life where it feels like you have a conversation with someone that starts off innocuous and you think, oh, I'm just doing my everyday thing. And then it becomes like you realize this is like a conversation that was more and more meant to happen. I was tutoring. I just got out of tutoring here at my community college, and I was just doing innocuous, just tutoring someone for intro chem. I was telling them about polyatomic ions, and actually it was someone I tutored once before, but like a couple months back, helping them get set up. And we're talking about, chemistry and polyatomic ions, and I'm explaining to them why these things do these things, like why things become charged in this way, ions. I was very focused on this, on the class, but this person is very, her name's Nicole. I'll call her Nicole. So we just get to talking about it, but I can tell they're very insightful, by the way we're talking. They're struggling with the class, but they care enough, but they keep coming to tutoring. They've gone with other people, but they finally were able to get it with me again. So we're talking about all these things. I don't know what it is, but just one thing led to another, and I end up finding out they're kind of like, they're the spiritual kind. They wouldn't call themselves religious, but they're spiritual. They believe in God, and they're talking about all these things, right? And me at this point in my life, I consider myself to be, I guess more science-based. I grew up Christian, but and I appreciate the value of religion, but like her, we both came to the conclusion that we don't like the institution of churches and mega churches and all this shit, So, God, I don't even. Oh, and also in our first appointment, I could tell she's someone very easy to talk to. So we're talking about. I revealed a bit about myself, the fact that, oh, what are you doing? We're both trying to do nursing. Oh, you're doing nursing too, It's like, what's your motivation? I told her, I was very sick, and I was in the hospital, and then it was that treatment, that I got from nurses that made me want to do that. I was already going for med school before, but after that I said, fuck that. No, I want to be a nurse, because I see what they do. I see how they can change someone's life. And God, I'm talking too much now. I want to get to the point. But yeah, we kind of almost started having this philosophical discussion, because she knows I'm a very more science-based person. I know a lot of shit about, at this point that I'm tutoring I'm taking microbiome. I'm tutoring anatomy, I'm tutoring physiology, chemistry, statistics. I know a lot about the material world, it feels like, more and more. And her hang up is that she recognizes that she doesn't know much about the material world in that scientific way, and her being a spiritual person pushes her to want to be cautious, be fearful. And she feels that in herself, though. She recognizes that feeling, and she's conflicted about whether she wants to even continue doing nursing, because she knows how she is, but she feels conflicted. And other people in her life tell her, why are you trying to do this then, if you feel that way? And she hates the chemistry. Not hates. She told me she likes the chemistry stuff, but it's tough. And she wants to quit some days, but she keeps coming back, and she doesn't know why. So we're just talking, trying to get to the bottom of why that is. Yeah, we're just really, at this point, we're trying to bridge the gap between the material and immaterial, right? Is God real? And she believes God is real. And I was trying to tell her that I believe God is real, but in a different way than she does. And I guess I believe that by the end of our conversation, both of our viewpoints kind of met more in the middle than what we started with, where I was saying, knowing what I know about fucking A, man. The whole conversation was about stability. It started with stability, because I'm talking about electron configuration and how ions form. There's this thing called noble gases on the periodic table. And I told her noble gases are basically checkpoints for stability. Because if an element in an ionized state can gain or lose electrons to become like the nearest noble gas to itself on the periodic table, it's more stable. So stability is everything. It's the path of least resistance, right, in our lives, in chemistry, in our lives, and everything. So that's just what nature does. That's just what it follows. And now, so that was about the class, and as we started moving away from that, it was already, by this point, we're already like 40 minutes into our 30-minute session. I don't care. I'll always go over. Yeah, we're just talking about all this shit, and she's actually, you know, I started revealing stuff more about my inner life, and she did too. It was like, it felt very like, God, I haven't had such a long time, like a very mature conversation. You know, when like the guardrails aren't up, you know, the walls, people, you're not guarded around someone because you trust, you implicitly know that that person doesn't have like any hang-ups about stuff. I don't know. Anyway, where am I at? Trying to figure out what God is in the chem tense. Stay on. So yeah, I was basically telling her, started talking about my cancer. Okay, because we're talking about chem, right? And I told her chemistry. I was in love with chem, a love-hate relationship with chem, before chemistry even came and destroyed and both saved my life. I brought up something I'll never forget. It's the first thing they infused me with. It's part of my treatment regimen. A little something called Doxo. Look it up. This red liquid. Chemotherapy drug. And I always remember the first night they put it in because, well, the reaction I had to it like 30 minutes after, you know, I'll never forget. And also the mark it left on me. My vein tissue was scarred and tough and hard for a long time. Holy shit, I'm talking forever. And I told her, I didn't obviously, because of how traumatic that whole regimen was. I didn't look up anything about Doxo until years later, maybe like only started 2 years ago. But in my head, I always characterized it. I personified it almost. I gave it, you know, a name. I called it the Doxo demon. See where this is going, religion. So we looked it up. We're looking it up together. You know, I'm sharing my screen on Zoom. And we look up doxorubicin because I want to show her the chemical arrangement of it. And it's referred to as the red devil, colloquially among, you know, medical professionals, because it's a red liquid and the kind of effects it has. It's very tough to experience. It's a lot. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you know, we're both realizing, like, I gave a name to something that aligned with how other people think about it without knowing that that's actually a thing. But at the same time, that I was trying to tell you, you know, that doesn't mean that it's all evil, you know. It's just, it serves a purpose. If we can believe that God made the world, the universe and everything, then God made chemistry. That chemical arrangement of atoms made that chemotherapeutic drug. It's not evil. It just does what it's going to do. And man, with our naming conventions of everything, we called it that. So it's like we have to bridge the gap. Anyway, so I'm talking about how she's conflicted, right? She's like, do I want to keep doing this nursing thing? It's hard. And I keep pointing out to her, something keeps calling you back. And then that's where my definition of God comes in. I've talked about this before. I had a conversation with my mom in 2024 that I recorded. I guess now it's something I need to rewatch and talk about. I will. I will. And it's about our family and stuff, and the thing going on with my brother, and how he's so hard to reach, and the murder of my father, holy shit, like all this shit, and how that had a cascading effect on my entire bloodline. All crazy. But things happen, and then you are forced to make a choice from there, and how you react to things, how you feel, how you hold your feelings, and then react from there determines how you live your life. And knowing what I know about chemistry, the way I define it to myself now is like everything's entropy. Path of least resistance, gradients, high to lows of flow, physiology. Things are going to go the way they're going to go if you allow them to. Everything already knows where it wants to go. What makes humans, I guess, different, an exception, is that we have the gift and curse of discernment. We know how we feel. We know what we want to do. But do we answer the call, or do we resist? Something's scaring me. I'm afraid of something, but I also don't understand it. Do I try to understand it, or do I just label it as a threat and then just avoid it for all time and try to discourage everyone else in my life that I love, that I care for, from wanting to figure what out it is? This is very general now, I know. The call, the answering of the call, that's what I'm getting at. If I had, I'm not very religious now, but if I had to put a label on it, to me, God is the answering of the call. You are experiencing God as a concept, the higher functions of the universe, whatever, when you feel an illogical, or feels illogical pull to do something, change something about yourself. And instead of saying, oh, I don't know, I don't, no, I don't like that, no. Well, first, you don't just follow it blindly, right? This is getting back to what I'm saying, discernment. You look at it, you think about it, you're like, okay, what are the pros and cons of this, whatever. And then it's like, okay, I weighed the pros and cons. I know in the grand scheme of everything, this is better for me. And so you do it, whatever it is. That's God. Take it any way you want. I'm not trying to sway your fucking opinion on anything. I'm just saying, to me, that's how it works. Realistically. So that, to me, that's the closest, the best we'll get right now in terms of aligning science and religion, right, together. God is entropy when you allow entropy to do its job. So when you allow it to function. I know I sound so crazy. No, I don't sound crazy. I had a really good conversation with this person, and they I'm really thankful. I'm trying to practice more gratitude, these days. I'm really thankful that I didn't just okay, let's finish the appointment, before we start getting. No, I said, no, fuck that. This person is enjoying this conversation. I'm enjoying this conversation. I need this. We start talking about my brother, because I'm so fucking lost right now on what to do about Andy. What to do. What even is there to do? That's the thing. I can't do anything. I really want to do something, but if someone in your life is resisting the call, then the absence of God in your life is when you betray yourself over and over again. I'm not speaking like I don't do this. I have been betraying myself for a long time. I'm just now, not just now, it comes in waves, cycles. I'm a year on, a year off. I get scared. I fall back on it. I go back to betraying myself. Now I'm trying not to. I'm really trying not to. And I'm also recognizing what actions, what habits lead me to do that. My brother's lost right now. Everything, the immaterial, material, everything's in a constant state of flux. That's why the biggest problem with today is like, we think everything, we like to label shit. Everything is one and done. It is, and that's it. Oh, you don't like me, or I have a problem with you? You're the worst thing ever, forever. Everything's in fucking flux, dude. I really don't like who my brother is as a human being right now, but I know it's not forever and it can change. She told me about someone in her life, a family friend who had cancer, and he was a non-believer for years, and then right as he stopped the treatment, and then because they knew it was over, he converted to Christianity right before the end. And okay, that's great. I don't care what you think about it. What's great is that someone felt they needed to do something to feel good, but not for goodness sake, so they could feel just more better before the end. They felt a call and they answered the call. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be religion. I'm not saying you need to convert to religion. Just, what do you want to do with your life? What do you feel? Try and feel it. Fuck, I'm really trying hard to feel it right now. There's a lot of work I need to do. And wait for a message to come. When you feel a subliminal message, answer the call. That's God. And yeah, for Andy, and that's a lesson I learned too. Then it becomes a question of how much do you need to lose? We're talking about this. How much do you need to lose before they call it hitting rock bottom, right? But the true rock bottom isn't just everything goes bad for you. True rock bottom is when everything goes bad for you and you finally let your guard down and understand your role, the role you played in that. I'm not saying you caused it. I'm not saying it's all because of you. I'm saying you understand the role you played in it. Were you an activating? Were you not? Was it out of your control? Understand that. Then discernment. The gift of living is discernment. But even that needs to be refined. Because there's phony discernment, like you see nowadays with people, the fucking therapist talk and all that shit, right? Like, and then even weaponizing religion against you. Yeah, now obviously we hate that shit. God told me you're not good for me, or I don't know. God told me this and that about you or about me, and that's why I now need to treat you this way. Told you that, or do you feel it and then you act on it? This is a 20-minute yap, of course. That's just like me. How can I even post this now? No, I might just post it anyway. Fuck it. Yeah, man, what a amazing conversation. I definitely heard some things I needed to hear about Andy. Also, too, this thing with the camera that's not an effect, my screen is cracked. Right over, I just got a new screen and then it's cracked right over where the front camera is. Anyway, yeah, I'm like walking half a mile away from where my car's parked to the community college now. But it's just okay, it's okay. I spent a lot of time last year worrying about shit, living in here. There are some things you can't. Well, she did say the person I was tutoring did say, there's a season for everything. Maybe it's not in our season. There's a season for everything. It's waking season. For me, it's waking season. And all this I owe to you. I don't know if you're out there, but I know you're out there. Entropy, Louis. You gotta trust in entropy, and that's the hardest part. Discernment. Resigning to allowing entropy to do its thing, because when you resist it, that's when you fuck shit up. In short, practice gratitude, live earnestly, hone your discernment. Answer the call if you feel it. That's another thing too. Answer the call if you feel it. Don't make one up. Chemistry destroyed my life and it saved it. Can it bring me back to you? We'll see. Love you guys. Should do more vlogs. Who knows? See ya.